Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make a tool to remove your damper rods from your 650 forks. For those people who want to drill out their damping rods, which I've done already. I've had them like that for about 8-9 months. Fine. Actually works better. But all you need for that to make one is one of these, which is a clothing rod from your closet. Has to be wood though, and preferably a softer wood. No oak. Oh, I'm not sure oak will make it. This is definitely not oak. It's pretty light. We only need one of these. Need a 28mm socket. I'm not sure if you get a 3/8 one, but this is a 1/2 inch one. And the important part of that is it has to be 12 tooth. 12 teeth have to be in there. You'll see why. It actually matches the top of a damper rod. Is actually the top of it matches what this looks like. It has 12 teeth. So what we do, this is only to hold the rod so it doesn't turn inside your tube. And then you can put your 8mm Allen with a socket and work it out. It has a lot of Loctite on it, like everything Royal Enfield has. So the first time you take them out, well, you won't have to do it again, but it's a little tough. All you have to do is take your socket, put it on a nice hard surface, line it up best you can. Once it starts going on there, you can just keep on hitting it to straighten it out on one side, on the other side, and you hit it. See, it's a little crooked, so you hit it more on the other side. Everything's falling over. It's almost all the way on. It'll go so far, then it'll stop. This is a soft blow hammer, but you don't have to use one of these. I only use it because originally I was just going to take this back to the store, so I don't mark it up, because I don't think I'll be using the 28 very much, but I didn't do it. I just put it in my case. We're about there now. This is a very snug fit. You just have to work it back off. Probably gonna have to tap it off. Got a hammer and a punch. There it goes. And it's off. And what it did was cut 12 points inside this wooden dowel, which matches really good to what the damper rod is. So good you can have it, you can put it on horizontal and it's not going to fall off. Other people have made metal ones, but I don't have a welder to do that. So I made a wood one, which is actually cheap. Very cheap, and you can use it multiple times. I've used mine, my original one, 8 times. because I took them out once. I drilled the original holes, just the original holes, wider, and stuck them back in. And I didn't like it that much. And after watching videos online, any video deals with the emulators, cartridge emulators, always drilled out 6. Drilled out 2 of the originals and added 4 more. So I took them out again and did just that. Now I already took off one leg of my fork. I've had it draining upside down for a while now. And I'll go get that and show you to take it off. Show you I'll take the damper right out of that fork leg. Alright, got my fork leg. Oil's pretty much out of it. Take the tool you just made. You can turn it slightly until you feel it gripping. And it's locked in there. And I'm going to take the end. This is, by the way, 21 inches long. And you see that it hangs out like 3.5 inches when the tube is pushed all the way in. This Allen key is 8 mil and it's 3 inches long. You don't really need an impact one to do it. In fact, they might be too small. 3 inches good, but you really only need like 2 inches to reach the bolt inside. Since I already had these out, it's not going to be as stiff. Maybe it will, but I don't think it will be. So I hold the fork leg against the wood. There. I already loosened it. Originally it wasn't that easy. In fact, I hit it with an impact gun, but then I realized it's just spinning inside the fork tube, which I didn't want to chew up the bolt anyway. Now just loosening it all the way. It's a good size bolt. I don't know if it's out yet. Let's see. Yep, it's out. There's your damper rod. And there's a spring in there. I'll take out the bolt. Come on. There's your 8 mil bolt. When I put this back before, I did use a few drops of Loctite, but nowhere near what the Royal Enfield put on it originally. And you can see the Loctite I got on there. There's also a copper washer. If your bolt falls out, you don't see the washer, it's probably still up inside the leg. Just gotta bang it out. This seals the oil in the leg, like your washer on your oil plug in the car. And if it's a little scratched up, just take a piece of sandpaper, push it against, and just resurface it. A couple things, turns, and then you're done. Alright, that's good. I really should clean this off and get the Loctite out of there with a metal brush or a wire wheel on your machine over here. I'll do it real quick for you. Alright, cleaned up our bolt. Put our washer back on so we don't lose it. Alright, our damper rod roll off the table. Oh, it's standing right in front of me. Okay. I'm just going to clean it off real quick. This is your damper rod. Obviously, I got more holes than it came with. And your top out spring. And I'll show you it all together. Alright, got all the internals laid out. Except it's too long for this table, so your damper rod, your spring, your mainspring, your spacer or washer, your spacing tube, and your top cap. On a damping rod, there's a ring here. This is like a piston ring in your car engine. Seals it up so oil doesn't go off on the outside. It can only go through these holes and up through your emulator. And if you can see that, there's your 12 points that our homemade tool fit perfectly and allow me just to back it out. Originally, this only has 2 holes, and they're very tiny. I'll put a picture on the screen how tiny, like 2 or 3 millimeters. And when your fork compresses, the oil is forced through these holes and up through the top. Because they were so small, that gave you your dampening before, but it wasn't really adjustable. Sometimes it would feel mushy, sometimes it would feel stiff and almost block out. Why it does that? Because you hit something so fast that it can't get through these holes fast enough and up, that if the fork almost feels a little like it's locked out, and you get, ugh, that's not fun. So the idea is to drill 4 extra holes. Easy way to do that, I'll measure it out anyway. Take some masking tape. Put it around. Take something small. Find your original hole. Just Of course, it's going to be neater than this because the hole will be nice and small. One on each side. And then measure from the center of that small hole 12 millimeters up, and make another mark. Of course, you just make it out of masking tape. Magic marker. And then measure again 6 millimeters up from the center of that hole, first hole, and then 6 millimeters over, and make your other mark. And you can do the same thing on the other side, 12 millimeters up, and then do it again, and then over. Then you mark out, your holes are marked out, and you can start with a small drill, maybe the size of the original hole, and just to drill out the new holes. I use the drill press with a drill press vise just to make it easier. But if you don't have one, you could do it by hand. And then you just have to work up to about 8 millimeters hole. That's how wide the hole should be, at least 8 millimeters. All 6 of them. The idea behind that is that to take the dampening away from this rod completely, or most of it anyway, so that it only relies on your emulator, which is adjustable for slow compression and fast compression. I don't know why YSS doesn't ask you to do that. I have no idea, but if you learn about emulators, they're all depend on drilling out the rod. And this is just should be another hole somewhere. Anyway, that fits in there nicely. Then your mainspring just sits on there. Your washer, your spacer, your cap. If you're going to do this, you're going to have to open the fork back up again, make adjustments to see how you like it, because this is adjustable, 2 ways adjustable. One for fast compression and one for slow. Slow compression are these little holes on top. That's just that the pressure is so slow when you're compressing your fork, it just passes through these small holes. Actually, there's only one hole originally. One hole, but there's 3 dimples already marked inside this thing. You can see one that's still closed. Eventually I drilled out 2 more. I did a little at a time adjustments, see if I liked it, until I came to where it is now with 3 holes. Do I think it's worth it? Yeah. For those who like to fool around with things, you're not going to ruin your fork like some people say. And if you don't like it or can't seem to get it to work right, you can just replace these damper rods. They're not expensive. Just get new ones and put it back in. But if you like to take not really taking a chance, if you like to fine-tune things like I did, you might want to consider doing that. I've been riding around for 9 months. It's better than it was originally. A little softer on a lot of things. so less fatiguing on your hands, your wrists, your arms, back of your shoulder. I like it. All right. When you do drill these out, make sure you don't have any burrs in here. They want it might fall out, and start being inside the oil. So after you drill it, if there is any, just take a file or maybe another drill bit and just work it and remove all that stuff. All right. Let me put that rod back in, and I can put it back in the thing and put some oil back in this fork and rebuild it. I intended to change oil anyway, so I wanted to try a heavier weight oil. I had 15 in there before, not 15, 10. I've been riding around with 10 since I put that kit in, and I just wanted to see what 15 would do. So I might as well do two things at once, show you how to make a tool to take this out and change my oil. So let me go do that. Okay. We're going to put our fork back together. Take your damping rod. Just stick it on there. There's a couple things at the bottom of the fork, like a spacer. Might have to line up so this thing will be able to get the bolt back in. That went right in. I'll put a little drop of Loctite on the bolt again. Not a lot. It's like water. Make sure your washer's in there. If the stuff that's inside is not lined up, just stick something in there and twirl around to get it lined up so I can put the bolt back in. Okay, that's snugged. Let me lock it back in. Just lock in the wood, not your fork tube. All right, damping rod's back in. Same way you took it out, you put it back in. Usually using a special tool to hold it in place while you crank down with it on your long 8mm socket, Allen socket. Now ready to put the oil in. You don't put any other internals in there while you're doing this. Only thing that's in there is the damping rod, and that does stay there. As YSS says, it needs at least 140 millimeters to fill it up. I don't have a millimeter cup, but that's about 13 point something ounces. I'm going to put just a little more in because we just used the fluid level tool to make exactly the air gap you need, which is 150 from the top down, and the tube has to be fully pushed down. I rigged it up so I don't have to hold it, but originally I held it and then held that other tool and then trying to suck out the excess. A little tricky. This will make it a lot easier, but obviously you're not going to have this. So I got my fork roll. It's kind of red. By the way, if you guys have had your oil in there for some time, it's going to be black. I would change it. The stuff that came out of here was black. It also had a shimmer to it. It's like a micro amount of metal. Pour it all the way in. If you put the kit in your fork, then you either have one of these already, or you just stuck a ruler down there. I like to, it's not expensive. You can line up the metal. It's graduated, so 90, 100, 10, 20, 40, 50. Alright. I line up the 150 mark with the bottom of this resting plate like. It's 150 at this point. So we stick it down there. Since we got extra, some of it's gonna come out. But it's better to put too much in and then take out what you don't need. Just keep pulling on until it starts sucking air. Which you probably already done again if you put the kit in. Some people might not have done this yet. Not have put the YSS kit in. Yeah, it's so tough that the plunger came out. I gotta get back then. Alright, I fished my bottom of my plunger out of the tube. Quick tip. Put some of the fork oil around it so it glides. It's a little dry, so it's why it fell off on me. Use the fork oil because then you won't contaminate it with anything else. That's what we needed. Yeah, that's much easier. I guess I got a little too much in there. Not a problem though. Just put it back. Put some back in the container. Can't be much more. I have to take out. Alright, put my oil in. This is set at 150. And I draw it out till I get to the right level. Which, there it is. Alright, the air gap is set at 150. Now I can put the other parts back in. First, you got your emulator. Just give it a minute before it gets down all the way. Then comes your spring, which numbers up. One side's got numbers on it, one side doesn't. Put the numbers up. Like that. Then you got your spacer between the spring and the spacing tube. Just got to make sure this thing is seated flat. Okay, that's in there. Now your spacer tube. Now you're going to have to pull up on the stanchion a little because it's not enough room. Like that. And your cap. I have the thread slightly greased, so mine go in very easy and come out very easy. You could actually use the Allen adjusting part. If yours moves as quickly as easy as mine does, you can put it all the way down. I've seen a lot of people have the O-ring sticking out. There now. Now it's back together. One thing I forgot to mention, after pouring the fluid, pump the fork 15-20 times. Make sure all the fluid's got all the way down to the bottom, no air gaps. Which I just took the cap off and did anyway. Did again. And that's it. I'll put this one back on. There's no need to show you how to take the other one off because it's the same exact thing. But I will show you how I take the emulator out, adjust it, and put it back in. Which if you do this job, you're going to have to do it till you get it to where you like the fork. How you ride, how much you weigh, all that stuff. So let me go set up the camera near the bike. Okay, I'll show you how to take out the emulator while the fork's on the bike to adjust it and then put it back. Stuff I use. It's one of these things to retrieve parts when you lose them. in like a car engine. It's got the jaws that are spring loaded. This one has a magnet on it also. And then you could do the whole job with this one, but that spring sometimes gets, this magnet might not be strong enough to get the spring. I did it the other day, but I had to very slowly pull it out. But this one, parts the retriever, has a bigger magnet and it comes right out. So let's open the fork. Let's see. Now the fork is, the bike is on its center stand, and there's a jack underneath the sub guard just to take the pressure off the front wheel. Then these things come out really easy. Like I said, mine's a little greased, so mine just comes right out. There's your cap. Spacer tube you can get right your fingers. Then your little spacer or washer looking thing. Take that out. Now the spring. Like I said, you could do it with the other tool, but the magnet is a little much weaker than this one. Just grab a hold of it, pull it out slow so some of the oil drips out. Grab some kind of container. There'll be a few drops. Now the emulator. That's what this tool comes in for. There isn't enough, steel in that little Allen screw on top of the emulator to grab good enough. So you're going to have something with jaws. Like this one has 4 jaws on it. You just slip it right down the middle. Open the jaws. And I got it. Good to have a rag around that, wrapped around the tube though. There's your emulator. Okay. Now to make adjustments to this thing. It's a 3mm Allen key, the top of the bolt, and the 7mm lock nut on the bottom. What I'm doing is holding the spring, the screw so it doesn't move at all. And all I'm doing is taking out the lock bolt. Actually, I won't even take it all the way out. I'll just back it out some. Alright. How this works, when your fork is compressed, oil is forced through here. And if there's enough pressure, like a hard hit, a fast hit, it'll lift this whole little diskin up up in the middle. See it moving up. That's for hard hits. It'll let that loose and let more oil through. And if it's only gradual, slow rolling hills, it'll come through the bleeder holes in the disc itself and not push that disc up. They come with just one hole from YSS, but you'll if you look at it, you'll see 3 other dimples. It shows you where you could drill a hole, so it's nice and even. I'll take it all the way out now, just so you can see the parts inside. There we go. There's your spring. Inside is another spring. And this flat little spacer in the top. That's your fork. So that goes like that, that goes like that. So when your fork is coming back up, rebound, oil is going to flow right through here again to take the place where it was pushed out of before. That's what this little spring does. This cap only goes on one way. See a little indent. The spring goes through here and screws at the bottom of the emulator. See, now the valve is closed because of the spring. Put this back on. This is a preload spring for the emulator, that screw. And you have to get it to its starting point so you can count as many turns you're going to do. You have to turn the screw until the spring, there's no play in it. It's a little bit more. See, now the spring doesn't have any play. Now that's your starting point. Put your Allen key in there. I hold it down so I'm not moving the screw anymore. And I lock it down. Well, first I'll turn it. I just took these out the other day and went lighter on it. I think I went too light, so I'm going to do one full turn. Just like your top cap, count how many turns you do. Same thing here. Half, 1. I'm going to try it at 1 now. For a while I was riding it with 1 1/4. And it's not bad. I just wanted to see if I can get lighter. And I think I went too light. So now I went back to 1. I had 3/4 in there. So the center screw is not moving now. All I'm doing is locking it down with the lock nut. So this is for larger, faster bumps. Fast compression setting is what this is for. It sets how much pressure it takes to push this valve up. Now the disc itself, that's why it had holes in it. That's for slow compression. Slow rolling compressions. Small hits. Originally I told you it has a 1. I had drilled out a second one, the opposite of the first one, and rode that for a while. Quite a while, quite a few months I rode that way. Then I decided to try drilling a third howl. And that made the lighter buttons much smoother, lighter bumps much smoother. So I've left it like that. So this one's set up for 1 turn, 3 holes on top. Now all you do is put it back. Might seem like a big deal, but it really isn't. Something else they don't tell, well, they don't tell you to drill out the damping rods either. But these are adjustable, and they say nothing about that because they are adjustable. Drop that in. Take our spring with numbers facing up. Numbers have to be facing up. Throw that in. Put it in a tiny little spacer between the spring and a rod. Now that's not laying flat, so I'll just stick this one down there and make sure. There it goes. Yeah, that's a problem with dealing with magnets. Stuck it. There. Now it's level. Put my tube back in. Get my cap. Screw it back in. Once you do this a few times, you can change out both of them in about 25 minutes. Or make changes to both, in about 25 minutes. Just start out with small changes, the preload thing. Maybe drill 1 hole in that disc. Now, that's all the way in. I run this 2 full turns, my preload. That's 1, 2. And that's it. Just remember the settings that you used. Not that that's really not too difficult, but just remember what you did last time and go ride it. See how it feels. You can ride it for a while, don't come back and change it right away. Ride it for a while and see how you like it. If you'd rather do it again, make another change, it's not that hard to do. And that's it. Hope this helps some people who choose to do this procedure. I would, because it has made it a little better than it was before. But you have to feel it to know that. If it wasn't supposed to be that way, then why would it be adjustable? If you don't drill out the jabbing rods, that rod has a major effect on the rest of it, how it works. Drilling them out disables that rod from doing anything, and all your dampening is going to be held by done by the emulator, the way it's supposed to be. But that's all it is to today. Any questions, just write them down in the comments. Now I gotta take my other side.